today.
Tonight in Nashville, the state of Tennessee will put Nicholas Sutton to death by electrocution. He was sentenced to life in prison for the murders of Charles Allman and two others. In 1985, he was sentenced to death for killing a fellow inmate.
Charles Allman's family lived in the Chattanooga area at the time of his murder. Channel 3's Claudia Coco introduces us to Allman's nephew, who says this is not the ending he had hoped for. Claudia?
Reverend Charles Maynard says his uncle was incredibly important in his life, but he doesn't want his uncle's tragic murder to result in another death. Charles Allman was one of Nick Sutton's victims in 1979, but to Reverend Charles Maynard, he will always be Uncle Charlie. Uncle Charlie was an engineer and owned his own business as a land reclamation contractor.
See, he lived in Knoxville. We were all kind of centered in Chattanooga, and he would be down for special occasions.
Maynard describes how athletic his uncle was and remembers competitive badminton matches with family and neighbors on Signal Mountain.
And the thing was that in our family, people in our neighborhood came to our house to play badminton, and Uncle Charlie loved to play badminton.
Reverend Maynard, who was living on Lookout Mountain, was in his mid-20s and expecting his first child when he learned Uncle Charlie was missing after missing his habitual Sunday phone call to his parents.
We're really worried. We haven't heard from Uncle Charlie in a few weeks. That was a long time.
It was through the reclamation business that Allman knew Nick Sutton.
You need people who will go in and plant, 1,000 pine trees. And so he had hired Nick for those kind of jobs.
A jury convicted Sutton of killing Allman and two others. He was sentenced to life behind bars. 5 years later, he was sentenced to death for killing a fellow inmate.
It was the wrong difference to make by taking another life. There'd been enough of that already.
Maynard is a United Methodist pastor in Knoxville. His faith is what led him and several other family members to ask Governor Bill Lee to grant Sutton clemency.
Our family is not in agreement of saying, oh, well, this needs to happen. There are some of us that feel this way. There are others that say, good riddance.
With Sutton's execution slated to move forward, Maynard is hopeful that his Uncle Charlie will be remembered.
He was a cool guy who really loved his family and loved this area.
Wednesday, Lee announced he would not intervene in this execution. Sutton is set to die tonight at 8 Eastern. Live in the studio, Claudia Coco, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.